This is Spectrum on Radio 1. My name is Edmond, Kizito, your host. Tonight on Spectrum, as we commemorate the International Women's Day, what are those key demands that women are making to overcome existing obstacles? Today, Uganda is commemorating the International Women's Day, an event that gives the country the opportunity to reflect on the progress women are making politically, socially, and economically. On the global scale, Uganda still ranks high among nations that have successfully carried out the emancipation campaign for women, although recent reports indicate that Uganda could be backtracking on key promises made so far. Women in Uganda still complain about high levels of poverty, illiteracy, violence, poor maternal health, discrimination of different forms, and political sabotage, among other challenges. Today's theme is Act Now, Promote Maternal Health. This theme is in line with the current push by women across the board to have better health care services in Uganda, given the fact that many expectant mothers are dying due to lack of health services in hospitals. This commemoration comes weeks after Uganda carried out elections in which women took part as candidates and agenda setters through the Women Agenda 2011. Many political analysts have argued that the united voice of women is slowly dying out due to the partisan politics that has led them to associate with positions taken by their respective political parties rather than the issues that should be uniting them. It is argued that a healthy nation is reflected by the well-being of mothers, who are largely credited for initiating development, peace, unity, and harmony. So tonight, as we commemorate the International Women's Day, we ask, are Ugandan women making progress in having their key priorities addressed by the government? Can women overcome the current political divide associated with multi-party politics to push forward an agenda that benefits them all, regardless of their political differences? We shall also explore what are those specific issues that need to be addressed to make Uganda a better place for women. Our guests tonight, Honorable Winnie Byanyima, Director of the Gender Team at the United Nations Development Programme. We expect her to join us shortly. In the studio with me right now, though, we have Ms. Patricia Monavi Babiiha, Executive Director of the Forum for Women Democracy, FOWODE. You're most welcome, Patricia.
Thank you.
We're also joined by Honorable Sylvia Namabidde, Mityana District Woman Member of Parliament, outgoing and incoming. She also comes from the Uganda Women Parliamentary Association. You're most welcome, Honorable Senabulya.
Good evening, listeners.
Patricia, today as we commemorate the International Women's Day, apart from the marches and the bands playing at Kololo and the speeches, what does this day mean to women, in particular those in this country?
Thank you very much, and happy Women's Day to everyone. I think this day, the International Women's Day, is a day when we stop to look back and reflect on the achievements that have been made by the women, for the women, and take stock of what has happened, look at what the challenges are, and also provides an opportunity for us to lay strategies going forward. What are those critical issues for the women that we need to continue to look at? Are there different strategies that we should adopt that can help us to deal with the many challenges that there are? And how do we look out for the critical stakeholders that we need to work with as we advance these strategies? So it is an opportunity to reflect, to lay strategies, and to look ahead and see how we then move forward.
And if you're asked to take stock of the journey that women have had to go through over the years, would you say that you made meaningful progress?
Well, I can say that where we are now is obviously way ahead where we were 20 years ago. And if we were to look at the achievements for the women across the sectors, you can see that there has been progress. We are not yet there, but there has been progress. Look, for example, at the numbers of women in politics. From a dismal 2 in the Colonial Legislative Council to the present 102 that we have in Parliament. So there has been progress. Look at, for example, even the theme that we are looking at today, the issue of maternal health. We know that the deaths are still high at 435 per 100,000 live births. But this was 525 between before 1995. So there has been a bit of progress there. If we were to look at the laws, we have seen quite a number of laws coming into being that actually help to further protect the woman. But once again, we need to see more coming in. We know, for example, that the marriage and divorce bill has been on the table for a very long time, and we as the women are anxious to see it come into being. But I must say that we have made progress, because we have the Domestic Violence Act, we have the Female Genital Mutilation Act, we have the Trafficking in Persons Act. We have many laws that have come in that are helping to improve the lives of women, but a lot more needs to be done.
Madam Namabidde, what does this midday mean to you in particular, in your perspective?
Thank you very much. This day is very important to me and to the women worldwide and in Uganda, because, like Patricia said, it gives us an opportunity to reflect on the woman, where we are, and the challenges which we are facing as women, and also take stock and see what has so far been done and what hasn't been done, and how best we can do what has not been done. This specifically, I'm very happy that the theme for this day is a theme about the issue which is closest to my heart, the issue of maternal health. And I believe that having given it the focus of today, I believe it's going to help us to marshal support, to help us. I think everybody now understands that this is a very big challenge. I think everybody now is aware that women are dying, and they're dying unnecessarily. And I believe as we move out of today and into tomorrow and the future, we move with determination to ensure that this problem of maternal mortality is adequately handled.
So you're happy with the progress?
Well, I'm happy with the progress, but of course we still need much more to be done. Initially, I think we made great strides. But I think, like many times when we make some achievements, there's a tendency to relax a bit, sit back and say, yes, now the women are there. When we have the 1.5 affirmative action policy for the universities, yes, they are there. When we have the district women's seats and councils, those are enough. But I think we need to marshal our strength again and move beyond numbers, move beyond policies. I would really love to see Parliament having more women who have contested with men on the mainstream tickets. I would love to see more women as ministers. Today, the President acknowledged that NRM win has been as a result of the support of women. I would love to see that translated into political appointments for women. If they're the ones who are putting NRM in power, then NRM should retaliate and appoint women ministers and have more women taking up important positions in this country.
Patricia, what are some of the issues that you think are still holding back progress?
I think one of the critical issues for the women that we have been reflecting on as the women's movement is the whole issue of economic empowerment. And even after going through these elections and seeing how much vote buying there was, in our reflections, we are confirming the fact that we actually, apart from the political empowerment work that we do, need to begin to think about how do we venture more into economically empowering the women, because the levels of poverty in this country are extremely high. And I think that is why it is very easy for an election to come round, and it is very easy for people to go out dishing money, and the voters then vote for whoever has given them the money. So I think the whole issue of poverty is still very critical, and we need to think more about economically empowering the woman. The other issue is the issue of education. We know, obviously, that when you talk about education, we'll quickly say, oh, there's universal primary education and there's universal secondary education. But research has showed us that enrollment rates, for example, for the girls are good. They usually get in at an equal level with the boys, but completion is really low. And so we need to see what are those factors that are hindering the girls completing school, and what measures can we put in place to ensure that more girls complete school. So the other critical issue is education. So we need to critically think about that. So I think those two are really critical, and going forward, we need to really lay emphasis on them. We know that if a woman is educated, for example, they'll usually seek health services. So once you educate a woman, it translates into so many other things. And so once we deal with this whole education issue, we think it will eventually translate into a transformation of the lives of the women of this country.
Let's talk about the two issues. First of all, the economic empowerment. How would you do it if you had the power tomorrow?
First of all, as we talk about economic empowerment, we need to think of it in a holistic way, because we have seen some economic empowerment programs that have come into being, but because they are empowering one gender and not the other, it also causes a backlash at the end of the day. So if I was to think of economic empowerment, I would think about probably giving skills and knowledge to the women, apart from just giving them the money, so that once you give them the money, some income, to begin some income generating project, they have the skills, they have the knowledge to manage those funds that you have given them. I would couple that with also working with their spouses. One of the things that we have seen in this whole economic empowerment realm is that usually when you give the woman money and she goes back home, there is another dynamic in the private sphere.
Right.
And so we also need to begin to talk to the husbands to realize why we are economically empowering these women, and to help them realize that at the end of the day, it benefits the whole family and eventually spills over to the community and to the nation at large. So I would couple working with the women also with working with the men, because it also takes changing of mindsets, because we know that women have been in the private sphere dependent on the men for a very long time, and so when the dynamics change, it's also important, critical, that we talk to the other gender so that they realize that at the end of the day it is beneficial to both of them. So giving skills and knowledge, giving seed grants, continuing to monitor, because it's not enough to give the grant.